take the best coverage that we can to combat the mainstream media, because you're not going to see what's really happening from there, and you're not going to see some of the alternative viewpoints and discussions that are vital to us as a society through that. So yeah, definitely just head to the website and get in contact. And if you want to get involved, we're more than happy to work with you.
So yeah, James, I really encourage everyone, as Ethan said, especially those here in Australia who are planning on going to the G20, to be smart, to be prepared for some of the police tactics that are going to be used against them. There's the obvious ones of sound cannons and tear gas that they have said they will use. But in my opinion, the most insidious tactic is that of agent provocateurs. I know we've spoken about this in the past, but for those who don't know, basically plainclothes police officers infiltrate demonstrations and protests, usually peaceful ones, and these officers have been caught in the past instigating and starting violent acts, which then, of course, leads to the possibility of things getting out of hand within the larger protest group, which then gives, of course, the rest of the security forces the green light to use all these fancy toys and gadgets and powers that they've been granted over the summit. So I know it's been said and talked about a lot, but I just hope everyone who is going to be demonstrating there this weekend keeps their wits. And hey, if you do see any strange or suspicious characters while you're demonstrating, why not conduct your own form of surveillance? As the camera tends to be the best and only form of defence against these type of jackbooted thuggery. So with that said, my hat's off to Ethan and everyone flying the flag for the real independent media here down under. The full interview that I had with Ethan Nash will, of course, be available at apperspective.net at a later date. So yeah, anything you want to add to that, James?
Well, I just want to stress what an important point that is, that people have to be very aware of all of the various tactics that are used to disrupt these protests, especially, of course, agent provocateurs. And if people want some examples of, or an example at any rate, of how that was successfully diffused back in Montebello in 2007, I'll put in a link in the show notes to the video of the protesters confronting the black masked armed thugs who were carrying rocks towards the police line, who they identified as undercover police, and who were then arrested and later admitted to be undercover police who were threatening the police line. Why would they do that? Oh yeah, so they could justify the crackdown. That was successfully diffused because the protesters stood up and wouldn't let these people even approach the police line, and called them out for what they were and threatened to unmask them. That was a successful example, but there was a lot of protesters against only two masked men. When the big team of black masked black blocs show up and start rampaging with the police watching as nothing happens, I think that's the point at which you have to be smart and probably get out of there before the crackdown comes down, because it's unlikely you're going to be able to stop all of that. But again, surveillance, another important point of all of this, because something that emerged, for example, at the 2010 G20 in Toronto, a lot of the footage was used to later discover some of the undoubtedly, again, undercover cops working with the cops and trying to get the crackdown going in Toronto. So two very important points there that people should keep in mind if they're going to be attending this G20 protest or any protest of this sort.
That's exactly right, James. And of course, we've had ad nauseum here in the corporate mainstream media telling everyone to be wary of black bloc protesters and